Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, guiding you through the trails of Glacier National Park. And today, we are excited to share some of our favorite hikes to do with families. You know, we've got somewhat young children. They're growing and they're progressing in their ability to hike in Glacier. But we wanted to provide those of you who are visiting with the 5 best hikes for families in Glacier. These are hikes that are relatively short. It's certainly not going to encompass all the opportunities that families have. And depending on ability, it's going to change. But I'm excited. We've got something in each sort of major part of the park.
Yeah, each region. And we're keeping to the 4 miles and down area. So, nothing above that. And the elevation gain isn't serious, really.
Yeah, the kids will think it is, and you've got to have snacks to motivate them, and they'll whine and sit down. Even we've had our son lay down in the dirt.
We've had many protests, yeah.
But hey, if you're going to hike in Glacier, if you're coming here to explore, these are some great trails. And as Sarah mentioned, a couple of 2 to 4 miles round trip, a couple 100 feet of elevation gain. So, if you've got kids out like ready to run and they just have too much energy from sitting in the vehicle, these are great hikes. And so, Sarah, I kind of want to outline them first, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into each one. They're all within that range, a couple of miles, exciting and beautiful. And most have some basic amenities or a lodge even with services nearby. But the ones we're going to cover are Avalanche Lake, Hidden Lake Overlook, St. Mary and Virginia Falls, Running Eagle Falls, and Red Rock Falls.
Yeah, let's start over on the west side. I think that's the most popular area of the park. And Avalanche itself is very popular, and for good reason. It's beautiful. Definitely get there early because parking is limited, but it's well worth This goes a little above 4 miles, but not much.
And it's, in spots of it, especially for kids, are somewhat steep, but it's what you're willing to tackle. And this is a great one on the west side. You will hear all about Avalanche Lake. As you visit the park. It's very, very popular, but it's worth it. And
tackle Trail of the Cedars, before or after, if you feel up for it. It's just a 0.9 mile boardwalk, and they have little interpretive signs, which is kind of nice. And you go around to Avalanche Creek and eventually to Avalanche Gorge, and then, work your way up the trail back to the lake. And there's a couple of pit toilets back there just before the lake, some new ones, actually. So there's definitely some kid-friendly amenities there. That's always helpful to have a restroom. And then once you're at the lake, if you feel like you want to go a little further, there's a fairly level trail that goes down around the head of the lake, and it only adds about 2 miles or a little less than that. And has some good fishing along there too.
So these are, Trail of the Cedars, wonderful to add. Further along the lake, you're getting into the, more miles, but this is a great spot to start. And we do have an episode completely on Avalanche Lake if you want to know a few more of the details, some of the specifics of the hike, but this is a terrific hike on the west side of the park.
Yeah, and as we said, it's a pretty popular trail, but if it's hot out, I like this trail because it's pretty shaded. It's, your temperate rainforest ecosystem with the huge trees like the western red cedar and the hemlock and the black cottonwood. There's a ton of mosses and ferns and just a lot of moisture in there. It's very popular, so it can be busy, like we said, and definitely be bear aware. Highly recommend.
For sure. And continuing along the Going to the Sun Road and heading upward toward Logan Pass, right there is the Hidden Lake Overlook Trail. And this is a wonderful trail, has a, 1.5 miles, one direction. Again, is some elevation gain, or fairly steep in places, big steps for little legs. And, but it's right up there at the pass. There's a boardwalk, and the overlook is incredible.
Yeah, there's a little bit of planning, and I don't even want to say strategy anymore, getting parking spot at Logan Pass. I don't really know anymore. I mean, we've tried so many different times throughout the day. It's often just busy because it's so beautiful up here. You're at the highest point of the Going to the Sun Road, right along the Continental Divide. And a lot of people want to see this really special place, this part of Glacier that is hard to get to. And the trailhead starts right behind the visitor center there, and it starts off on a little concrete and then transfers to some boardwalk and then again to, some regular nature style trail hiking. But we've seen so much wildlife on this trail, and the panoramic views are spectacular. You can look around behind you where you've come into different parts of the park. And then once you get up to the overlook down to, Bear Hat Mountain, and you got Hidden Lake down there. So it's a really popular hike, but it's so worth it. It's about 3 miles round trip, and the elevation gain is just shy of 600 feet. So it's not terrible, but it's not level either. So, bring hiking poles. I think that helps coming back down, because you do step down on some large steps, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So that's helpful. And early season, you could encounter a little bit of snow. So it's nice to, it gets a little slippery in some areas. So I feel like hiking poles help with that, and maybe something you can slap on your boots, some crampons or some spikes to help navigate through that too. If you're coming in June, even early July, we've seen snow up there.
For sure. Glacier Park is open all year round. We've been to each of these in every season, and they all provide something different. Avalanche Lake is beautiful, peaceful in the winter with cascades raging in early summer. Hidden Lake is less accessible than the others due to elevation. So pay attention to notices about the trail closures and the amount of snow at Logan Pass. You can check the webcams.
Yeah, I often check the webcams. That's something I do almost every morning. I love watching the sunrise, but it's helpful to know what's going on up there.
Mm-hmm. So we're driving down. We've reached the highest point. We're already driving down, descending the other side of the Sun Road of the park, and you're getting into a place called St. Mary. St. Mary in Virginia Falls is a terrific hike. Again, we've expanded upon that hike in a different episode, so check that out if you're really interested. But St. Mary in Virginia Falls, a great destination hike again. So Sarah, again, kind of a small parking area and a popular hike, but it's great. It's a great trail, and you hit the falls and the bridge, St. Mary Falls, right away. I mean, it's pretty quickly that you get something fun to look at and explore a little bit. And if you want to go further, Virginia Falls is something you can see from the Sun Road. A huge falls, as beautiful, and named after your grandmother.
Well, not
really.
named. No, she was Virginia.
Yeah.
So the most common, the actual trailhead, if you're just going to St. Mary Falls, it's 1.2 miles, one direction. And if you're feeling ambitious and want to make it to Virginia Falls, it's a very, very high fall area, and it's so beautiful. It's just another.
Yeah, that's what I like about this one is the kids have something to look forward to, and then more to look forward to. So you're getting a payoff right away, which is what they demand. But there, if you want to go further, you can.
It's only another half a mile, so it's not far.
Do it.
Yes, and this area too, if you're looking down, the trail's kind of high up above, the St. Mary River. There, you can possibly see moose. We've seen moose down in that area, so a great place for that. The falls. Like we said, St. Mary Falls and Virginia Falls are beautiful. And if you're feeling ambitious, there's a couple different ways that you can access the trail from a couple different ways. You can start at Sun Point, and like Josh said, we have an episode on this and kind of navigate you through, where these other spots are where you can start and how many miles it adds to it. But this trail gives you a lot, and I think after the 2015 fire went through there, the Reynolds Creek fire, I think the views are even more panoramic, and it kind of opens things up, and you can actually see Virginia Falls off in the distance from even the going to the Sun Road, so that's kind of cool to see. It looks so far away, but it's really not. It's
St. Mary Lake is the deepest blue. Yeah. It's beautiful, and you're right. The trees, the way that you can see through them now, are terrific. And we like these trails because they're well maintained, and the elevation allows for even carrying kids in a backpack. We've done that for a lot of years. Eventually they can kind of go on their own. But if they're a little bit older, make sure they carry something, a small pack with water and maybe a rain jacket, for example. It teaches them to be self-sufficient and earn the reward. And also there are plenty of places to stop and rest and enjoy what is all around you. So make the kids, play their part, and they're getting something. And if you're visiting or traveling or coming into Glacier, it's for a reason. They're expecting to hike, and they get some fresh air, and it's really good for them. We're going to take a short break now, but we've got a couple more hikes to talk about right after this.
As Josh and Sarah from Hiking Fools will tell you, a great hike starts with the right gear. And at Freedom Bank, we think great banking starts with the right team. From mobile check deposits to custom loan solutions, we're ready to help you succeed so you can spend more time on the trail and less time worrying about your money. Freedom Bank, big solutions, small town heart. Member FDIC.
Welcome back. We are the Hiking Fools, and in this episode, 5 best hikes for families. And these are our opinion. You'll find a lot of options throughout the park. This is our opinion and some of the highlights that we want to share with you. So, make your own judgment, but these are our favorites. And we've worked our way from the west side of the park now over to the east side, and we're heading up to the Many Glacier Valley. And the hike there that we love is Red Rock Falls.
Yeah, we often like to do this hike in the spring or early season, early summer when there's not a ton of traffic, but and a lot of the higher elevation hikes are still covered with a bit of snow, and we can get out there and get away from the snow a little bit, but still get into nature and take our kids with us. So I really love Red Rock Falls, just not only because of the views and the vistas, but you've got 3 lakes that you go by. There's a good chance to encounter some wildlife. If you go early season, you may not encounter huckleberries, but thimbleberries might be out there. It's always nice to have a little trail reward for the kids. Our youngest goes from patch to patch.
Oh yeah, picking berries is a great pastime, and it really is because, man, in the spring, the red rocks, you'll see how beautiful they are with the bright green foliage and the Montana blue sky and the clouds. And the early season wildflowers, the glacier lilies are in this area.
Yeah, and the trailhead starts at Swift Current Motor Inn. It's, it'll be labeled the Swift Current Pass Trail, and it'll have a little mark there for the Red Rock Falls hike. Make sure you take the time to glimpse at these several lakes that you hike by because it's a great chance to see moose. There's, it's 4.2 miles out and back total with very little elevation gain. And like we said, there's plenty of spots to rest, and it's not super strenuous, which is great. And the falls are just stunning.
This is a little bit easier one. Kids can boulder a bit and climb around on the rocks. They all love to do that. Dip their toes in the ice cold glacial runoff and find something to make it very interesting for them, including small mammals and birds. Columbian ground squirrels excite most visitors, which is cute. But there is potential also for other unbelievable wildlife sightings. You love you're always taking pictures of these ground squirrels.
I like them. I know I see them a ton. I like any piece of nature I see. I really do. I get kind of gaga over it.
We showed our friend, he was visiting from New York, and he stopped in his tracks and looked around and was actually frightened. So what is that? And we didn't know, but then we concluded that it was a ground squirrel that he saw. But it's new. It's new for them to see that right on the trail.
Yeah, and definitely be bear aware too. The whole Many Glacier Valley is chock full of grizzlies, and they use all these same trails. And you can also reference. We have an episode out there about bear awareness and navigating all that in the park. So you can always reference that and get more detail. And how do I do that? Definitely keep your kids close if you're hiking with your family, that's a good safety thing. Yeah.
And be aware, pay attention also to area closures, including trail postings. Understand that parking at each of these trailheads is somewhat limited. The good thing, I will say that the hikes don't generally take a long time. So, cars should be cycling through somewhat regularly. So if it's full at one point, go get a snack and come back, and hopefully and likely you'll be able to, the makeup of the parking lot will have changed, and you'll find yourself a spot.
So we're leaving Many Glacier Valley, and we're headed down to the southeastern corner of the parks. We're going towards Two Medicine. So you can take the beautiful Looking Glass Highway all the way back to the Two Medicine Valley, stop at Keio, the K.
Oh, the
Keio
Mercantile, what do I call it? Carb Heaven? I like these places.
Yeah, he loves it. It's a sister store to Polebridge Mercantile that's up in the North Fork. So worth a stop. But get into the Two Medicine area there, and pretty quickly, once you cross through the gates, you will encounter a little parking area with a couple pit toilets actually, and it's Running Eagle Falls, or known as Trick Falls as well.
Why, Sarah, why does it have two names? Why is it known as Trick Falls?
Well, in the springtime, with the heavy runoff of water coming off the mountains and the snow melting and stuff, you have... Actually, there's two. It's the same river, but the lower falls gets trapped and you can't see it. So the upper falls kind of cascades over it and you can't quite see it. But then in the summer months when the water level goes down, the upper falls no longer comes over
the water's
rock.
coming out of
So
a different pocket.
It is. It's like a hidden trapdoor of waterfall.
So you'll see this if you visit in different seasons, you'll see this in two different ways. But the trail itself is relatively short, about a mile in, and there are, again, depending on season, berries. I know the thimbleberry and huckleberry patches are huge. There's beautiful flowers, and you get to the creek, and another great spot to dip your toes.
Yeah, in this part of the trail to the viewpoint of the falls before you cross the creek is actually wheelchair accessible. So I think that's great. And it ends up being a little bit of a nature trail. There's a loop there that you can walk around. Yes, a ton of thimbleberries, which are great. The trail does eventually transform into more of like a, rocky style trail as you go down to the creek, and it's a lot of rocks and stuff. And early season, they have the bridge out because the water level's too high, but peak season, there's a bridge there and you can walk to a little platform of, to see the falls a little bit closer.
Yeah, there's a couple of different viewpoints. You can go kind of as far as you'd like, but we love, running Eagle Falls in the Two Medicine area.
We've seen black bear on this trail too, especially in the spring months or early summer. So definitely be bear aware. Even though this trail is really popular, and just want to point that out, all these trails are very popular, but we've seen bear on all of them, even when there's a ton of people. They're pretty habituated to humans in the park, so make plenty of noise and keep your children close. I think that's really important.
Yeah, stay together when you're hiking as a family. And remember, these are destination hikes. You're going to see either a beautiful alpine lake with stunning backdrops or an amazing vista, from 7,000 feet up, or one of many impressive waterfalls in the park. So you've got something to motivate the kids. And, we just want to make sure that everybody knows it's not, Glacier has a lot of extensive hikes and backpacking loops, but there are so many accessible trails for families and for children.
And there's even more than what we mentioned too. So, do your own research, and there's a book out there that you can reference a little bit more,
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of resources. Everybody's got their favorites. These are the 5 that we like, and it allows you to explore, each region of the park with these hikes. Avalanche Lake is on the west side, and Hidden Lake Overlook up at Logan Pass, and St. Mary is kind of that eastern part, coming down. Many Glacier is a terrific area, and we've got a hike named in that area. And then very popular but lesser known area of Two Medicine.
Yeah, and I like what you pointed out about having the kids carry their own pack. I think that's really important. It makes them feel important too.
Sure, yeah.
Like they're participating in what we need to survive to be out here. And I think what helped with our kids is to have just a little mini pack with a camel pack in there, a little water reservoir with, a sipper on there. They look at you and they see you have one, and it makes them feel like they're grown up. And I think that's really cool. And, have them carry a hat or
little rain shell,
sunglasses,
something that's an extra pair of socks, and don't forget, even children. I mean, you come out here. We maybe haven't mentioned it enough, but the appropriate gear. They need a pair of stable shoes. It's not a flip flop trail. It is get your kids some hiking shoes. Make sure they have good, wool socks or moisture wicking socks and clothing, and as we've mentioned so many times, a rain shell and a hat and sunscreen and sunglasses. So just make sure that your kids are prepared as you would be to head out on a hike and have everything they need.
Yeah, and what we used to do when our oldest was younger, and we do now with our youngest one, is we have what we call energy beans. And what that means is it's just something chocolate covered something or other, something little that you can say, all right, when we get up to this next bend, you can have a little reward. And I feel like that's really helpful. Food goes a long way. Little trail snacks. I mean, it keeps good attitudes going.
Absolutely. We've enjoyed, sharing these with you, some of our favorite hikes for families and children, and there are many more, that you can explore. But if your interest is piqued, check out our other episodes on each of these that go a little more in depth. And make sure to check out our other episodes online. Remember to follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe on YouTube. Check out our Instagram page at Hiking Fools MT to see some great photos from our recent adventures with our children. So get out there and enjoy. I'm Josh.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Hiking Fools, encouraging you to always go